What is going on, everyone? I am back with a update and the story time of my first time on the 911 system on an ambulance. I don't know who said on the 911 system, but it's awesome because now I get to share a wonderful story with people. I didn't get as traumatized as I thought I would have been or whatnot. But so right now I'm installing the Black Ops 4 beta on my Xbox, and I want to talk about my experience in the EMS system. Sorry if you hear a little rattling. I'm just moving a cable over. There we go. Okay, so I had 7 calls in total, 3 calls that turned out to that ended up getting canceled, and out of the 7 calls, I had 1 death. Sorry, I had 1 death. Rest in peace. But I don't want to start off with that. I'll save that for the end. So, it wasn't like as exciting as I thought it'd be. I was hoping to see people getting shot and stabbed and whatnot. So let me knock out the 3 calls that turned out to be nothing. I'm playing a PUBG game. This was supposed to be uploaded on Gaming with the Boys, but that never happened because the audio was never recording, and I still haven't told them. So, the 3 calls that turned out to be nothing. So the second call of the night I get is a stabbing, and so we rush over there. Light sirens, phasers. We rush over there, and PDs all over the place. They got detectives and marked uniforms and cops fucking going up and down the block, on the roofs, canvassing the streets, and they cannot find the guy who was stabbed. They can't find any blood, and nothing. No one knows anything anymore. So we wait there a little bit. Turns out, they call us off of it, and we move on to our next call. So 2 other calls that turned out to be nothing was actually there was 3 calls that turned out to be nothing. 4 in total, 3 more. 1 was a prank call. 1 we got there and the dude just told us to leave, that he doesn't need us anymore, but he was going off some weird shit. He was like, my entire room went black and I couldn't see anything, and then I saw my dog, and it was weird because his dog was black, and then he was just going off on a bunch of stuff, but you could definitely tell he was on some stuff. But he turned us down. He didn't want it. Well, I mean, it sounded like he was on stuff, but he was also in a steady mindset, but he was pacing a lot. So the next call is this guy who's feeling sick because he ran out of his medication, and so we get there and his room is balls hot, and there's piss all over the place and whatnot. It was a little disgusting, I'm not gonna lie. Dude was sweating like crazy. It was so hot in there. He had the radiator turned up to 80, but it turned out that he doesn't need us anymore. He was thankful that we came and checked up on him. So now moving to the interesting stuff. My first call was a man having alcohol withdrawal, and he was a really cool guy. We talked about tattoos, and he was an artist and whatnot. He was a good kid. Sad to see him have withdrawals and whatnot. It sucks and all, but we talked him down, relaxed him and whatnot, and we brought him to the hospital. So a majority of these calls are just gonna be, and we brought him to the hospital because what we mainly do is, if there's a life threat, we'll make sure it's not a life threat anymore, or at least hold it off until we get to the hospital. We'll ask them some questions about their history and whatnot, and then we bring them to the hospital. So the only interesting things are what happened within picking them up. So the next call is we have this woman who has, I guess a cyst or something. I don't know. We never figured out what it was, but she had something between on her pentatelium or something. It's the little space between her vagina and asshole, and she had something on it, and we were just perplexed, man. It's crazy. She was a nice lady, and we did what we had to do in the hospital. She had a hard time in the ride sometimes over the bumps because it would hurt her. It would irritate the area. So our next call is what was it? trying to think. Well, all right. So I'm gonna just keep going in order. So the next call was like after the prank call. It was like every other call we had was like a prank for some reason. We have a woman going into cardiac arrest. We get there, and PD, ALS, and fire are all there. ALS, I'm BLS, and ALS is advanced life support. They do more stuff and whatnot. So they're there, and they couldn't get an IV or an IO on her in order to help her. And this woman was massively obese. Like, her leg is like 2 of my legs together. It was insane. But by the time they didn't know how long she's been in arrest, and they couldn't secure an airway because they couldn't insert an OPA into her mouth to stop her from choking on her tongue. And they put medicine in her, and it just like went to her, and it just came back out her nose. She wasn't taking it. She was dead basically when we got there. No pulse. She was obese, so being cardiac, an unknown time being cardiac, her pupils were not dilating to light. Usually if you're still alive and you have like brain activity, your pupils will react, and that's a great way to tell. You shine the light in them. If they dilate differently, you might have a stroke, or you have some problem going on. But all right, so moving on, we have coming to the end of the night. I'm trying to get through. I want to get through this a little fast because I want to keep the time frame together. But coming to the end of the night, we have this woman who doesn't know how she. Actually, there's 2 more calls after this. There's a woman who doesn't know how she had a little cut on her leg. She had a cut. It was like a half an inch by an inch and a half, and her fat was like coming out of it. So we bandaged it up, and this lady is crazy. Her and her mother get in the ambulance. And they keep saying, we asked them which hospital they want to go to, and the mother is like, you got to bring her to the psych ward. This bitch crazy, because she was trying to break. She said she was trying to break up a fight, and she was she got hit or something, and she fell, and her entire leg was like swollen, like below her kneecap was swollen, but she just had that like a little cut. So we brought her to the hospital. She was crazy, and she was like asking me things like, she's like, "Ooh, I bet you a little freaky and whatnot," and all some stuff. It was funny. The next call is a person claiming of respiratory problems. It was weird because we get there, and he's talking about like his dad comes in, he's talking about he can't walk, and he's having an episode or something, and so the guy comes out completely walking. He complains of having problems breathing. His chest feels like it's burning and whatnot. And then we get to the hospital, and he keeps telling me how he wants to crack it. He wants to crack his ribs, and he's trying to get he was definitely trying to get some drugs from the hospital. We know that for sure. But we treated him for respiratory distress. And so moving on with that, he was talking about some tiger and whatnot, like how he wanted a tiger or something. And when we were at the hospital, he was like Googling, he was like using Siri to like find out which states is it legal to own a tiger, and where to buy a tiger. It was so weird. So moving on to the last call. This isn't the last call, but this is like probably like the 4th, 5th call we had. This guy was complaining of abdominal pain, and we get in and we talk to him, and he tells us that he was shot 10 times a couple years ago, and from then on, the doctors told him he was going to have chest pain, abdominal pain. We didn't see any of the marks, but this dude I have never seen a grown black man cry. He didn't cry. He was basically on the edge of crying, I wasn't gonna like come after him like, yo, don't cry or whatever, but he was in a lot of pain, and so we helped him out with that. We brought him to the hospital he wanted to. It was really fun. So my overall EMS experience, it was really fun. I'm not gonna say names or what hospitals or what ambulance I was with, but at the end of the day, we hung out with a bunch of FDNY buses, and I got to see the inside of them, and it was really cool. Compared, we were in the van ambulances, and the FDNY has those big ass trucks, ambulances. So it was really cool seeing the inside of that. And and all the cooler stuff that they have compared to the ambulance I was in. So overall, I really enjoyed being EMT, and definitely hope in the future I'll have way better stories to tell. And so thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys on the next story time. Stay tuned.